Welcome back to Sports Edge. An honor to have on the couch tonight a man I remember reading about and seemed larger than life when I was a kid here in the New Haven area. Former head coach at Wilbur Cross High School, Bob Saulsbury. And Coach, thanks for coming in.
Well, John, thanks so very much. That introduction you're talking about, oh my, it makes me feel as though I'm old as the hills.
No, you had some fantastic teams back in the day. I remember getting the paper and reading all about Wilbur Cross and how much success you had. And part of that success has led you to quite an honor right now. You're up as a nominee for the Hall of Fame, the Basketball Hall of Fame. When you heard that your name was on that list, what was your first reaction?
Well, number one, who's the jokester? I just couldn't believe it. But about 2 weeks prior to that announcement of my being selected, not necessarily be inducted, but nominated, I saw a nice interview with Rebecca Lobo. And when they were talking to her, and the moderator said, oh, by the way, he said, you're up for a fine honor. So I'm saying to myself, what could that be? So he said, Rebecca, you've been nominated for the Naismith Hall of Fame in Springfield. I sat back and said, wow, what an honor. I was thrilled for her. Mm-hmm. Little did I realize that I too was on that battle, but I didn't know. So to answer your question, yes, I just felt that, Rebecca belongs, not me.
Well, I think a lot of people would disagree with you on that. I know you don't like to be disagreed with as a head coach, right? but you meant so much. And now there's a few more steps that have to happen here. You have to become a finalist and then selected from that group there. So I think a lot of people think at some point, even as a contributor to basketball, you belong there. What, 28 years on the state?
That's correct, right. That's a head coach, right.
9 state titles with Wilbur Cross?
Right, yes.
And at one point, #1 high school team in the country.
Right.
That's a lot. You've accomplished a lot.
Well, one of the things that, and I don't sound modest, very humble, but anyone could accomplish what I was able to achieve when you have good ball players. And you have players that can do their job and follow directions and win ball games. They make you look great. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that's always puzzling to me is that everyone said, Bob, you're such a great coach. And I would tell them, it's my players. So my last year, I had gone into my final year of coaching with 495 wins. Mm-hmm. So obviously it's a cinch to win 500.
Right.
No siree, I never got there my last year. I won my first game, and I lost 17 straight games, only to win my last game, which I had a record of 2 wins and 17 losses for the great Bob Saulsbury.
That still stings.
But I'm saying that if I'm so great, then how come? How come 2 and 17?
Yeah, but I've heard you were tough to play for, but in a good way, and you could see that now because so many of your players, still treat you as a father figure and are still there for you and part of a family.
That's the thing that's so nice, because I've always tried to make the players aware of the fact that, you represent not only the high school, the city, and the state. And what happens is that we receive so much publicity. I said it's so unfair for the youngster who's in the chemistry lab or somewhere in math class. They don't get the recognition. Mm-hmm. And some of the coaches who work just as hard, if not harder, and for the lack of great ball players, they never get recognized. Mm-hmm. But it's not because they haven't tried. Mm-hmm. They don't have the ball players. So I'm here and they're not because they haven't worked hard.
Right.
But those things happen.
You're a New Haven guy through and through, born in the city, went to Hill House High School. How did you get your start in coaching, though?
Well, I could be here for forever, but I'll try to make it very brief. Okay. They didn't have men of color in coaching. Mm-hmm. And when I saw one of the school bulletins, I was in the elementary school at Dante School, and I saw that there was a vacancy for applicants for the assistant coach at Wilbur Cross High School. So I said, I don't want to coach. I never did, but I said, let me just see whether or not they'll give some person of color some recognition. So I said, let me go and see Red. And I knew Red Verderim, so I had gone over to see him during our lunch hour. At that time, we had an hour and 45 minutes for lunch in elementary school. And I went over and I saw him, and I said, Red, I'd like to apply for the position if you don't have anyone in mind. He said, well, I do have someone in mind, and that's Paul Capiera. I said, fine. I was satisfied that he would give me some consideration. So I said, I left feeling very happy. But he did say to me when I was leaving, he said, Bob, let me tell you, just in case Porky can't take the position for some reason or another, you're my man. But it didn't affect me. I was happy that he said he would take me, consider me. So I was satisfied.
Yeah.
I got back to school. It was a phone call from Red, and I called him. He said, Bob, I just found out that Porky can't take the position because he's not in the school system. So you're my man. Now, when he said that to me, I had mixed emotions because I didn't really want to coach. I didn't. So now I didn't fill out the application. So at that time, he kept saying, hey, I want that application. So he called my wife at that time. And to make a long story short, she filled out the application, submitted it. So by rights, she should have been the head coach, not me.
Behind every good man, there's a good woman, right?
That was true. Right? No, that's a true story. Right.
Well, were you nervous? Is that why you didn't fill it out?
No, but I just didn't feel as though I didn't think I could do the job. I didn't feel confident.
Yeah. Well, I think you did the job and did it okay.
You know, with all the players I had to work with, we won 2 state championships.
Right, right. Well, what were some of the early, pitfalls, or did you face a lot of different things being the first African American head coach?
Well, the thing that helped me tremendously, that Red Verderam was fantastic. He gave me a list of things which I followed. It was like a Bible. And so the things that he had done, he was so successful. I just followed what he laid out for me. Okay. So that little piece of paper with about 10 things I should do and 10 things I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I really followed that right till my final year of coaching.
Well, all the state championships and the great players, I mean, you had the Earl Kellys, the Super John Williamsons, Soup Campbell. I mean, you can go on and on, some legendary high school basketball names. What meant the most to you, sending those kids to college or the continued relationship you have with all these guys?
Yeah, I'll try to be very brief. Choate Rosemary Hall had called me about one of my ball players, and he was 6'8", and I was wondering whether or not he would fit the bill scholastically. I know he worked hard, but I didn't want to put any of my players in a position that would make it somewhat difficult for them. So I know I had one ball player that personified what I consider that type of material. So I spoke to the coach and I said, why don't you do this? Why don't you come and see this young man play, and then you make your determination whether or not you might like this person instead. Now we're going from 6'8" to 6'2".
In basketball, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So he had come, and anyway, he liked what he saw. And the young man at that time was destined to go somewhere else. But I intervened and said, I said, no, I have your lifelong plan for you. But he didn't like that idea. But we sent him to Choate Rosemary Hall. He had done quite well. And then he went on to Cornell and did exceptionally well. Then went on and got his law degree. So when I would say to him, you want to go to that particular school now? So he said, Coach, you never let me live that down. But I felt that, this is a young man. You could see that he was a bright young man. You wanted the best for him. So those are the things that make you feel pretty good. That was Alfred Watts.
You're 87 years young.
I feel that way.
You're still getting out, watching a lot of high school basketball now? What do you think of the games?
Well, I'll tell you that we had gone to the last game. We saw Hill House demolished Wilbur Cross. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing because Wilbur Cross is not that bad. And I just think that somewhere along the line, one loses its confidence when you're playing and you just sort of, the team as a whole has a tendency to let down. And that's the thing that only bothered me as a spectator, to see a team that is talented not do or live up to their full potential. So that's a little annoying.
Do you ever wish you kind of stuck out a couple more years, coached a little bit more, got to 500, or is that you
No,
satisfied?
No, it's funny because it's funny. Red said to me, I always refer to Red because he was just a master and very helpful. And he said to me, Bob, let me tell you, the time is going to come, and you're going to realize that it's over. You may not think so, or the fans may not think so, but you will know that you've had enough.
Yeah.
And I never believed him. I said, he's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll coach till he dropped. But the time came. But it was not because we lost 17 straight games. But I just felt that what I was attempting to do and hoping to do, it wasn't fulfilling, not only for me, but also for the players. So I felt that it was time for me to step aside. I didn't want to go out as a loser, but I don't think I did badly as a coach. I'd like to feel as though I did the best I possibly could. I don't think I coached any differently, but it's just the results for the fact that the players that I had previously were not there any longer. So, but I didn't want to complain. I didn't complain when I had great ball players, so I'm not going to complain when I didn't have them.
Well, I know you're a very humble gentleman, but there's a lot of folks out there rooting for you to make it into the Hall of Fame. And I know there's a couple more steps to pass, but we wish you the best of luck and hope to see your name there in Springfield.
And let me tell you the last thing I'd like to say. Even if I am not inducted, it's immaterial. It's just the fact of being nominated. And just to be able to sit here and talk to you and tell you about my players in general, what they had done for me, is enough for me. I'm satisfied.
Well, I see them surround you and the love they have for you. So you clearly did something right as a coach, even despite all that yelling and screaming.
You're so kind. And thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you so much.